Good evening, I'm Brent Stafford, and this is Shaky Politics. Let's get shaking. Welcome to Shaky Politics. Tonight we return after a 2.5-month hiatus. As most of you know, we took a break in order to produce Aftermath of Murder Survivor Stories, a 7-part video series featuring in-depth interviews with people who have lost a loved one through murder. So the details behind your parents' murder are a little bit up in the air. Could you tell me about that?
They went to Romania in 2009 to sell what had been my mom's apartment, and they were supposed to be there for 3 weeks. And on the last day, they were found dead in the apartment. And then ultimately I found out that the Romanian police thought that it had been a murder-suicide. So my mom was murdered and my dad apparently killed himself.
And that wasn't true, or?
The frustrating part about it is that I don't know. So on one hand, I knew my dad. I knew my parents' relationship. I knew what we were like as a family. I remember them as people who would do anything for each other and for me.
The series was produced for the nonprofit group BC Victims of Homicide in support of the National Victims of Crime Week, and it was a huge success. Thousands of people over Facebook, on Global TV, and through our partnership with the Province Newspaper and theprovince.com heard survivors tell their stories about the aftermath of murder. If you watched the series, we thank you. And for those who missed it, you can still watch the videos by visiting the BC Victims of Homicide website at bcvoh.com. And now let's turn to politics. The Aftermath of Murder project ran straight through the provincial election, so we didn't get a chance to cover the stunning BC Liberals win. But now we're back, and we have opinions to share, and we've added another place to share them. Beginning this week, you can find my opinion in the political column, The Duel, in 24 Hours Vancouver Newspaper. 24 Hours Vancouver is the #1 free daily in Metro Vancouver, chosen by over 650,000 readers a week for its one-stop resource for news, entertainment, weather, and outstanding local content. Every Monday in The Duel, I battle over the issues of the day with fellow columnist Laila Yuile, and each week you get to vote on who won. So pick up a copy of 24, read each duel, and cast your vote at vancouver.24hours.ca/opinion. This week's topic for the duel is a 10-year deal with the Teachers Union, good for BC. Laila wrote first this week, and I responded. Her position is that Premier Christy Clark's meddling has derailed what has been a respectful tone of negotiations. And quoting from her column, "Is this really about education and children, or is this about setting a precedent and sending a message to other unions the province must negotiate with in the future?" Please read Laila's entire column on 24hours.ca. Just click the link below in the video description. Now for my response. During the past 18 months, Laila and I have been engaged in a lively debate about BC politics. She, of course, was adamant the BC Liberals would lose the election, and I was adamant they would win. The voters decided. However, our debate continues. I supported the BC Liberals in the last election because more often than not, their positions align with my own. Case in point, the government's proposal for a 10-year contract with the BC Teachers Federation. It makes sense for students, parents, and teachers. I'm bemused by Laila's points in her column, as they seem to support what is my fundamental opinion: the B.C.T.F. routinely deploys bargaining tactics that hurt students. This is one of the reasons I believe the traditional approach to bargaining with the B.C.T.F. is fatally flawed. The B.C.T.F. is an organization that wakes up angry and goes to bed angry. In my lifetime, I've never known a time when the teachers union was content with salary, class size, or workload. No government, not even the NDP, has been able to manage the union's irrational beliefs or placate its unrealistic demands. I'm reminded of a quote from Shakespeare: "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." The teachers have thought themselves into a corner. They think they are mad, so they're mad. The B.C.T.F. needs a timeout. I believe a respectful negotiation and implementation of a 10-year labor agreement between the province and teachers will provide a much-needed break from the never-ending cycle of threats, withdrawals of service, mediation, arbitration, and job action. It would allow teachers, students, the government, and labor activists to focus on what matters most, building a better future for BC. The government's proposed plan sounds reasonable. In exchange for a 10-year agreement, teachers would get a voice in allocating dedicated new funding to priorities that are important to education, a formal role in policy decisions, and a compensation package which is based on increases indexed to the average of other major public sector unions. It's worth a try. I'd like to remind everyone that the plan was released in January. It was in the BC Liberals election platform, citizens voted, and the government was re-elected. It should be no surprise the Premier is now acting to implement the plan. Elections matter. I'm Brent Stafford, this is Shaky Politics, and you have just been shaken.